This, ladies and gentlemen, is the BAC Mono, the world's first single-seater racing car that just so happens to wear one of these. In its tail sits a 2.3 litre Cosworth engine with 280 bhp and enough performance to make your heart explode. And beneath its science fiction bodywork sits a suspension system so finely tuned you'd think Mozart himself had created it. And the price for this extraordinary machine? 66 grand plus VAT, which is either a slightly weird joke or the bargain of the century, depending on how good it is to drive. So let's find out.
On the move, this car is absolutely mind-bending, considering it wears a set of number plates. I've driven a few single-seaters in my time, including a Formula 1 car once, but what this car feels most like to me is a Formula 3 car. And really, that was the driving experience that they've tried to capture with this car. Hence, it hasn't got a V6 or a V8 or a big expensive engine out the back. It has got a 4-cylinder inline engine. It has got a Formula 3 gearbox. It's a Hewland gearbox, absolutely straight out of a Formula 3 car. But the best thing of all about this thing is where you sit, which is smack bang in the middle of it. As a result, there are no compromises for anything. The weight distribution is perfect. The visibility all round is quite incredible. It feels like you can see through 360 degrees. And the way this car responds to anything that you do inside the cockpit is unique. It's fan-bleeding-tastic, to be quite honest. You don't really drive it down the road in a conventional sense. You just think it down the road. If you want to turn in to, say, this corner up here, which is what, a 5th gear 110 mile an hour corner, you need about that much steering lock, and that's it. When you want to change gear, you just flick the paddle, up it goes. When you want to downshift, you flick the paddle and down it goes. What I also really like is that they haven't gone for a dual clutch or anything silly like that. It is a conventional manual gearbox. Okay, there are paddles, but there are also 3 pedals down there in the footwell. So if you want to use the clutch when you downshift, you can. I love the throttle response in this car as well. Okay, there are a few vibrations that come from the engine and they go via the tub and they end up kind of pummeling your lungs a bit. But when you want the response, oh man, it's there. I mean, that just feels incredible for a car that's road legal. I cannot imagine how carried away I would get in this car on my favourite B road. I tell you, you'd have to have a serious word with yourself before setting off on the road in this car. The trouble is, you climb into it and you look at the dashboard and it just looks like you've climbed into a Formula 1 car. As a result, you want to drive it like a Formula 1 car. It's also got a phenomenal amount of grip. It's not on a knife edge though, and that's really nice. I like that. It's not like a Formula 3 car in that respect. There isn't a kind of cliff of grip that you teeter up to and then fall straight off the side of it. There are nice round edges to the way it handles, the way it gives up the grip. You can just play with it, you really can. You can actually go into really fast corners on a trailing throttle and just wait for the tail to move a bit and then just gradually get back on the power to balance it up. I mean, you need to be a bit aware of what you're doing and aware of your own skill sets before you start trying to do things like that, but you can do it. Okay, I've been driving this car all day now and I'm really trying to think of a few downsides. The only one that I can come up with, apart from the fact that it doesn't have a beautiful sounding V8 or V12 engine in the back of it, the only problem I have with this car is that I don't own one, and I never will, because I'm not wealthy enough. Beyond that, it is fantastic. The end.